Tahr's home for the next few days. Get a little 360 here. Big river drainage in this mountain range. Super cool out here. Got a nice river about 50 yards from my tent, so I can get some water. Got the tent all set up. Show you around a little bit. There's home. Got the ground sheet down, sleeping bag, sleeping pad. Brought some extra water, but with the river right there, I shouldn't need to carry much. I can get some every night. Got my stove and some other random gear that I don't need to carry with me. The rifle in my pack. I'm just unloading some stuff now and go do a little afternoon hunt here. It's about noon right now. Just have to pick which direction I want to go. Hiking my way up this scree slide here. Up on the very top, there's that rock pile. There's a really solid game trail I can see coming down out of it, so I'm gonna see if I can get to the top of that and glass around a bit from there. I don't know if the video will do it justice, but climbing this stuff is brutal. It is like straight up. Tent's way down there somewhere. Almost to the top here. At least I hope that's the top. Not only is it steep, but it's freaking wet. I don't know if it rained a couple days ago or if it's just the humidity, but all the grass is soaking wet. So I'm just soaked already. Finally got up to a good little glassing knob here. Can see all the way into this whole basin. So, gonna sit here for a while, let my pants dry out. Oops, glass along these rocks, kind of along this stuff. Maybe glass some of this stuff behind me too. But that's a long ways off, so sit here for a few hours and see what we see. Got so sweaty on the walk up here that I had to lay my base layer out there to dry, but I think I just spotted a couple tahr on this face right here. Get the spotting scope out and get a closer look. Kind of working their way this direction, so watch them for a while, but I think it's 5 or 6 females and a couple young ones. Doesn't look like any bulls in there. Got down off that glassing knob, kind of making my way back down towards the river bottom. Didn't want to crawl down this in the dark, so I'm gonna try to find a little spot on the river bottom that I can kind of glass up into the hills from. Watched that group for about an hour and never saw a bull in there, so not too worried about them, but I'm hoping there's more where they came from anyways, because I didn't see anything else. But the clouds are starting to come in a little lower now, so kind of lost some of my visibility. But keep working my way down towards the tent and find a spot to sit for the last hour or so of light here and get ready for bed. Well, that's about it for day one. I glassed for a little bit longer just outside of the tent here until the clouds lowered a little bit too much where I couldn't really see a whole lot. There's a little fog rolling in, so got everything sitting out to dry. Get a little freeze-dried meal here going soon for supper. And then call it a night. It should get dark here in about another half hour. Get up early in the morning. Hopefully the fog clears out a bit. I know it's been kind of in and out, and the last hunters I talked to that were getting flown back out when I was getting flown in, they said they had a couple days where they got completely fogged in. So let's hope we don't deal with any of that, but we'll see what it looks like in the morning. All right, morning and day 2. Rained pretty much all night, but stayed dry in the tent. A little condensation in here, but nothing bad. Pants are still wet from yesterday, so I got my rain pants on underneath my puffy glassing pants because I don't like the cold. Put on a couple more layers and go see what we're working with for visibility today. I kind of peeked out right away this morning and it looked fine, so we'll see. It's settled in the glass here. I don't know, it's probably 40 degrees, but the clouds are pretty low, so I'm not gonna bother trying to climb up to a high glassing knob because I'm not gonna be able to see much from there anyway, so just glassing up from the river valley here into all those faces. Got a few hours worth of glassing with everything around me to really pick it apart, so sit and glass it all for a while. There's a bunch of these little bugs, I think they're sand flies, that are like mosquitoes that are just tearing me apart right now, so hopefully those kind of peter off, but we'll see. Glassed all morning, didn't see anything. Walked a little ways down to kind of one of the little drainages dumping into this river bottom. I think I'm gonna either go down and hike up that a little ways to glass, or go back towards the drainage where I saw those females yesterday. Kind of see which one looks better. But just whipping up some lunch here. We got cheesy mash, mashed potatoes and cheese. So fell asleep before I could eat supper last night, so I'm pretty hungry. We'll whip that up so I've got a little energy in the tank and keep looking around. Well, just finished lunch and I was getting ready to go make a little hike, and it started raining again. Raining pretty good, so I'm gonna sit it out for a little bit while and see if it lays off before going. If it doesn't let up though, I'll just have to go give her hell and get wet, I guess, but I'll give it a half hour or so and see if it lets up. Well, the rain finally let up, so I'm gonna hike up to where I saw those tahr last night. Right across from me here. Up in that valley is where I was glassing from yesterday. And those tahr I saw last night were kind of up around behind this hill. There's another really big drainage back there where a smaller river dumps into this main one. It looked like they were coming down out of the rocks kind of towards the river, so I'm gonna follow the river drainage up around the corner, then walk that smaller river up a ways. Hopefully I can glass up into there quite a ways and see something, but the clouds are clearing a little bit. It's getting a little nicer out now. I'm hiking in my rain gear just in case it does rain again. I'm not overly concerned about getting wet. I just don't want my clothes to get all soaked because I don't have a stove to dry out with, or I don't have any other spare clothes with me or anything, so try to stay as dry as I reasonably can, but I only have a few days, so I'm gonna have to just hunt in the rain for a few of them. See what we can find. It's so flat along the river drainage, it does make for pretty easy walking until you gotta cross the river 10 times. The river makes a big bend up there right up against this steep area that I don't want to climb. Plus I need to be on this side anyway, so kind of just find the shallowest spot you can and hope for the best. But pretty cold glacial water and it's moving pretty quick, so but luckily with a good pair of boots and some gaiters, As long as you don't stand in one spot for too long, like knee deep, you can get across pretty dry. Probably have to cross it a few more times before we get to where I'm heading, but all part of the adventure. And having to stop every couple minutes just to soak this all in. It is just insane out here. This big pool here, there's probably a 20-pound brown trout swimming in there. Big rapids going up. Just insane. Never been anywhere like it. Once you get up out of that river bottom, it is straight up mountain climbing. Like, anything that looks like on the map you can get up, 10 times harder than you would imagine. I'm kind of close to where those Tahr were yesterday. They were just right on this face here, on those little strips of grass or whatever that vegetation is. I'm guessing they probably go up in the high rocks there to bed during the day and then kind of come down onto these shelves to feed later in the day. But sit here for a little while in glass, make sure there's nothing looking at me from these high rocks, and then maybe sneak up another couple 100 yards. Just spotted a Tahr way up above me. Up in those rocks up there. See if I can get the spotting scope on them. About 800 yards away up at the top of that rock. I'm guessing it's one of the females from that group yesterday, but if she comes down closer, I might have to shoot her just to have something to eat. We'll see. Keep watching up there and see if anything else shows up. Well, watched that group again for a while. Decided I could really use some camp meat, so I decided to crawl all the way to the top of the damn mountain after him again. And about as soon as I got up here, the fog rolled in. So unless they show up about 100 yards in front of me, I'm not going to see anything. Last I saw them, they went up into these rocks up here somewhere. But that was probably a good hour ago. Taking me quite a while to crawl up here. Pretty damn steep. So, probably kick it here for another hour or two until it starts to get closer to dark and start making my way back down. Well, that was a bust. Kind of fogged in up high where the Tahr have been. Probably got 45 minutes until it starts to get dark here, so I'm gonna start working my way back, sliding down this scree slide. Actually works pretty good for getting down the hill. All right, this is strictly for the purpose of giving my sister more anxiety than she already has. That's straight down to the river there. I threw a rock and it took about 10 seconds for the thing to hit the ground. Wow. Unreal. Thought I could kind of hike straight down from where I was down to the river bottom and just follow that. But getting a little cliffed out here, it's pretty rugged. Probably a 150-foot drop down to the river from here, so gonna have to stay up on this rim until I get back to where I originally came up. But I was trying to avoid some of this brush because there's some pretty sharp thorny crap in here that's been poking me the whole time, but oh well, beats falling down a cliff. It's a good thing I had my Onyx tracker on, because there's one little chute up this hillside. Otherwise it's all just nasty craggy cliff stuff, and didn't even think of it on the way up here, but if I wouldn't have had my tracker on the way back down, there's no way I would have found this little draw, because you can't see it from above. It all just looks like grass, but that would have made for a long night. So we're just about to the bottom. I think I got to kind of crawl around the river up here and then do a couple river crossings on the way back to the tent, but getting there. All right, just about dark. Made it back to the tent. Been collecting a little bit of driftwood on my walks back, so maybe just have a little fire tonight. Hopefully the forecast is wrong, because I did a weather forecast check on my inReach and it showed 90% chance of rain tomorrow, so we'll see what that turns into. But it might be a day in the tent unless I feel like getting soaked. See how warm it is. I guess if it's cold, I'm not getting out, but that's about it. Well, I ain't no Boy Scout, but it's enough to warm the hands up. This wood's all pretty, even though it looks dry and dead, it's all pretty wet and waterlogged. But see if I can get some of it to dry out, maybe, to make a good sized fire. Night number 2, making up some supper. Just boiling some water for a little rice. Was hoping to have some Tahr backstrap to chunk up and throw in there, but I'll just eat it plain tonight. Made a little fire. Didn't last too long, but was enough to kind of take the chill off, so that felt nice. These pants are just about dry now, finally, which is good. Been wearing the rain pants all day, which actually worked out nice, walking through the wet brush. But get some dinner in my belly and probably read a little book before I get to sleep. And fingers crossed that it's not raining too bad tomorrow. I'll up bright and early for morning 3. Pretty decent temperature overnight. Didn't get super cold, thankfully, but my boots haven't dried off the whole time I've been here, so that's been kind of a bummer, putting on wet boots every morning. But oh well, could be worse. Could be 10 degrees, so I'll put up with that for decent weather, I suppose. But rained a little overnight, but nothing crazy, and not raining right now, so I'm gonna take advantage of that and try to get as much done as I can before it apparently is supposed to start raining this afternoon. So I got a new little drainage that I've been looking at on the map that I'm going to go check out. Haven't been over there yet, so hike into that with the sun at our back, kind of, and glass into that for a while. See if I can spot anything. If not, there's another drainage the other side of the river that I want to check out in the afternoon if the rain holds off. So got plenty of stuff to check, just a matter of hopefully coming up with 1 or 2 to go after. But that's all I got. Well, exploring some new country this morning. Beautiful out today. Finally got some blue skies. There's some rain clouds popping in and out, so it's been sprinkling on and off, but hopefully that blue sky starts to open up a little more. But behind me is a big, huge drainage with a bunch of really good looking nasty rock up on the top. So I'm gonna get to the opposite side of it here, get up in there to kind of glass across. Spend an hour or 2 picking that apart, and if that doesn't show anything, there's a few really nice little drainages back here, so check out some new country, see what we can see. Last night something came into camp. I don't know if it was a wild pig or a red deer, but it was making all sorts of noise, keeping me awake. But maybe I'll see that thing, whatever it was. Already getting into some sign here. Bunch of Tahr tracks going up this hillside. They look pretty fresh too. Lots of tracks through here. There's kind of these benches or shelves. You can kind of see these little benches. I'm guessing they kind of come down off the mountains and feed on those at night. because there's been lots of tracks up here. This side's pretty barren, just smooth scree, so I'm guessing anyways, they're up in these rocks somewhere, so I'm gonna find a spot to sit close by in one of these ledges, glass up into here with the sun shining, hopefully pick something out. Well, I've been glassing for probably 45 minutes and finally spotted a couple tahr. They're about as far away as they can possibly be in this drainage, all the way at the head of it, but they're not up super high. They're not way up in the rocks, so I think I can make a play on them. I'm gonna look at them for a little bit longer just to see if one's a bull or not, or see if there's any more with them, but it looks like just 2 right now, but see if I can get the spotting scope on them to get a little better look. But perfect timing, it's still early in the morning, so I've got all day to watch these if they're ones I want to go after, so about time. All the way at the end of the drainage between those 2 little patches of brush. Well, they're just under 2 miles out, so I'm just gonna try to keep an eye on them. As long as they're on that scree slide, I can see them. I can actually see them with my naked eye from this far. Once I get into that brush, I'll have to pick them out with the binos, but I'm gonna kind of keep an idea of where they're at and just keep making my way towards them. Hopefully I can see them most of the way. I don't like to make a stalk and not be able to see them, especially if they're not bedded, but I don't really want to let them get way up into the really high stuff midday here, so I'm gonna drop down to the river, I think, and just follow that most of the way, just to kind of stay out of their view as best I can, but see what we can do. Got the sun directly at my back, which I like a lot. Nice tar trail along the ridge here. I'll keep following this all the way up. The only thing working against me right now is the thermals are pulling right up this drainage, so hopefully the wind doesn't suck right to them, but really the only way to get to them. So there's obviously been a lot of tar back in here, though. This trail is just hammered, so maybe I'll even spot one before I get to these ones. Walking this tar trail, not the place you want to go for a slide, end up in the river, but they got a decent little trail there, so if a tar can walk it, I can walk it, right? Getting a little closer. I was glassing back up in those hills. They're right behind this hill. Right behind that hill. They were on that scree slide, so hopefully I can peek around the top of that hill and see them. I'm guessing it's still going to be well over 1,000 yards from the top of that hill, but at least if I can get eyes on them at a little closer range, make a little bit better of a game plan. Yeah, baby, let's go. He's rolling down the hill right now. He's rolling down the hill, way up from the top of the mountain. Oh my God. Oh my God. We did it. Straight up shot. About 400 yards. There's another herd of them over on the cliff over there. Up on the scree side, you can't see them, but oh my God. I was coming all the way up the river trying to find that original pair that I saw. Peeked around a corner and there was 2 nice bulls bedded up right above me. Like, I ranged them at 290 they're bedded down and it was almost a straight up shot. So I took a while to get my breath and took a shot at one and I missed. I don't know if it was because it was so steep or I was just so excited or what, but they took off. So I went, wrapped around the mountain trying to find them again. Saw one young bull. And then right when I got around this corner, those two studs were just about to go over the top of the mountain. I got lined up. I don't remember, it was about 400 yards. I just ranged really quick to the top of the rocks. Smoked him, oh my God. Oh, I can't believe it. This is crazy. This is crazy. I got my dad with me. Oh, this is cool. Oh, I don't know what to say right now. That was incredible. Oh my, excuse me. My dad was over here over 30 years ago doing the same exact thing. Oh man, it's incredible. I was looking up and down the scree slide to try to find him, but I can see a blood trail. He must have slid all the way down to the creek bottom, so all the way down I go. Hopefully I didn't get busted up too bad because he was obviously tumbling all the way down the hill here. As long as he didn't bust his horns off or bruise his back straps up too bad. We'll see. Holy crap. A freaking Tahr. Check that out. Holy cow. That is so cool. Looks like a pretty nice one too. Oh man. So I'm gonna drag him out here for some pictures. Soaking it in a little bit. There he is. I think it's a pretty good one. I don't know. It's no giant, I know that, but I don't think it's a little one. Gonna cut the back straps off him here soon, so I've got some protein finally. I've just been eating plain rice and potatoes and crap, so mixing some back strap will be real nice. But oh man, they're just so cool critters. They got this super long cape on them. This isn't even a good cape yet. Once it gets towards winter, I think they get even longer. But man, unbelievable. Other side of the world, all by myself, public land. Nothing like it. I think Dad would have thought this was pretty cool. Leave a little him there. Oh man, that's cool. Oh. Here's one more look at him. Pretty dang cool. He got a little chip on his horn tip here and right in the front of it, but that's all right, adds to the story. I'll have to count the growth rings, but looks like he's at least 6 years old, so again, not a giant, but he's pretty cool. I'm pretty happy with him. Unreal. Well, it turns out in all my infinite wisdom, I left my knife at the tent. Don't know how I managed that one, but try to kind of drag this guy down into a shady spot somewhere down by the creek where it's the coolest. Should be able to get back here within a couple hours, so everything meat-wise should be good, but not even noon yet, so make a trek back to the tent, drop some stuff off, and come back here and haul some meat back. Well, walking back to the tent, because of course I forgot my knife, and this might be just about as cool as the Tahr. Freaking shed laid in the middle of the creek. Wow. That's pretty cool. Well, now I found a shed in a different continent. That one's coming home. I think it's a little red deer. Probably could have picked a little better route. Of course, I never learned my lesson and I came out a different way than I came in. So, cliffed out on both sides, had to walk down the river. Gun barrel smacked a rock here and knocked a rock off and bonked me on the head, so hit me right in the ear. That feels pretty good. So I gotta crawl down this. I think once I get around that corner, I'm kind of home free to the main river bottom, but oh well, we'll get there. Well, I was doing a decent job keeping my boots dry, but those last couple crossings were well over my gaiters, and now they're pretty soaked, but oh well. Oh, I can see the tent right there. Phew. It is, wow. It is a lot warmer than I thought it'd be. It's like, it's gotta be in the 60s right now. I'm sweating. I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but I might jump in the creek here. Like, that's gonna be pretty dang cold though. We'll see. It's a little after 1 o'clock. Just about back to the tent, so unload some gear. Try to go as minimal as possible, going back to get the Tahr when I've got my knife, actually. I would bring my gun just in case I saw a chamois or something, but I think I'm just gonna leave it to save the 10 pounds or whatever, so. Do a little pack dump, maybe take a real quick little nap or lay down for 20 minutes and then get right back up there. I think it was about 5 miles round trip from the tent, so it'll be a 10+ day, but feels good. All right, back at camp. I'm gonna whip up one of these meals because I'm freaking starving and sweating. I'll try to let this shirt dry out a little bit. Let my boots and everything air dry for a minute. I don't know if it'll do much good, but make a little meal, rest up for a little bit, and then hike all the way back and get that sucker. Just having a quick little lunch, little chicken carbonara. Not bad, not. Well, it did start raining now, finally. If I would have had my knives with me to begin with, I could be back in my sleeping bag now, but oh well, we'll do a little walk in the rain. Had a nice little lunch. I got some dry socks, dry pants, and almost empty backpack, so shouldn't be too bad of a walk. Go up onto where I was glassing from this morning. Go up that a ways, pop down into the river behind this, and back to the scene of the crime. Make my way up there. I think I only got about a a little over half mile to go. There's only one kind of tough part, some inclines right at the beginning of the river there to kind of get up and around some cliffs, but once you're down in the main river bottom here, it's actually pretty flat, so making pretty good time. All right, if anyone's thinking about doing this, save you the trouble, go throw a load of clothes in the washing machine. When they're done, take them out and just put them on. Don't even put them in the dryer, sopping wet. And then go find your heaviest backpack, throw a bunch of weights in there, then get on a stair climber for about 6 hours. When that's done, go throw a tent out in your front yard and sleep in that with a bunch of bugs, and then do that a couple days in a row. Oh, and it takes like 30 hours to get here to do that, so much fun. Well, haven't been filming much since I got to the Tahr because it's been pouring the whole time. Legs are just soaked. I'm soaked from the inside out because I'm sweating under this rain jacket, so everything's wet. But I got pretty much the elevation part of the hike done anyways. There's the path across the open face there. Just got to buzz down that, and then I'll be down to the main river bottom back to the tent. But got a little meat in the pack and Euro mount coming up. Made her back to camp. Everything's soaked, outside at least, but seems like everything in here looks to be dry, so as long as my sleeping bag and sleeping pad are dry, I'll be good. But got a feeling I'm gonna be stuck in this tent for quite a while until the helicopter comes back. But I sent them a message on the inReach to see if they can come a day early, but I haven't heard back yet. So until then, we'll hunker down in here and read some books and twiddle my thumbs. Well, day number 4. I've been in the tent since last evening. It's been raining the whole time, so haven't got out of the tent and don't plan to. If it does let up, I might go for a little walk just to stretch my legs, but don't feel like getting wet for no reason, so hang out in here for a while, probably cook up some food, try to let things dry out. I got clothes hanging from the top of the tent, but they still look pretty damp, so just gonna hang out in here and try to stay dry. helicopter's due in tomorrow, I think, 10 or 11 o'clock or something like that. So hopefully it's done raining when they come, so I don't have to sit around and wait for them out in the rain. But other than that, not a lot going on here. Well, about noon, still raining, so gonna do a little organizing and make a little lunch. I've got one meal left and one thing of rice left, and then some Tahr back straps, so that'll get me by for a little while. I got some peanuts too. Talked to the pilot, and they're not able to fly in tomorrow because of pretty foggy. They can't get off the ground, so it's going to be an extra day, which I didn't really anticipate for or pack enough food for, so I'll have to kind of skimp by. But looks like rain all the rest of today, and then tomorrow is supposed to be not as much rain or any rain, but a little colder. So I think what I'll do tomorrow, there's a little cabin or a hut about 3 miles downriver. Hike down to that so I can have all my stuff packed up in there and wait there for the helicopter instead of waiting here in the tent. So kind of my plan for now. We'll see. Right now, just doing a little reading, make up some lunch, and keep just hanging out. Not bad. Well, I don't think I'd call it gourmet 5-star restaurant meal by any means, but I'm pretty glad to have that meat right now, especially with the pilot being later than scheduled. I didn't bring a ton of extra food, so having that little meat there definitely helps stretch the rations out a little bit. So feels good to have a little warm meal too. So just hanging out in the tent. Not a lot going on. Well, about 5:30 in the evening now, day 4. I've been sitting in the tent the entire day. Had a little to eat, read a bunch in my book, played a bunch of games on my phone. Excitement of the day, the windy side of the tent just blew open, so that was fun. It's just like moss and rocks that I'm camping on, so the stakes weren't in super good. So had to run out barefoot quick and stake that back down. Then I collected a bunch of big rocks and I put on all the stakes that are on the windy side there. So hopefully that holds it through the night. Otherwise, I got my headlamp laying right next to my sleeping bag here, so if the stakes decide to pull out again during the night, I can at least get up and restake it and collect some more big rocks to hold the tent down. But hoping the wind lays down and the rain quits, and then tomorrow we can go on a hike and find that little hut and have another day sitting around waiting for the helicopter. Oh, good morning. It's day 5. Been in the tent for like 36, 40 hours, something like that now. So about 7:30 in the morning. There's no rain, it doesn't sound like, so that's good. I'm gonna let the tent sit and dry off for a little bit here before I pack everything up, but take my time waking up because it's a little chilly, so I like to stay in the sleeping bag a little longer if I can. But it feels like my clothes hanging from the roof of the tent are still wet, so I'm gonna have to just walk in my rain gear or something. But get everything packed up and walk down to that hut and wait for the helicopter down there. Should be due in tomorrow morning, so hopefully that's all good to go. Well, off we go. Got everything packed up. Pretty full, heavy pack because half the stuff in there is all waterlogged and soaked, so it's even heavier than it should be. But at least it seems like on the map anyways, it's going to be pretty easy flat walking right down the river valley. So as long as I don't run into any really crazy river crossings or tight gorges, should be pretty, hopefully pretty easy walk. Well, turned out to be a lot tougher hike than I anticipated. The river got pretty high with the rain, so I've been having to kind of go up and around, up into the hills here instead of following the valley. But something that my dad always said, one of his favorite phrases, whenever I was faced with a big obstacle or challenge, is, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. No matter how big the task is, just break it down into smaller tasks. So I always just tell myself, if I can take one more step, I can take 1,000. So one step at a time, up high, down low, whatever it is, as long as I can take one more step, I'll make it there. Making progress. I can see the hut. Hard to see, but it's right in that little corner of the river right down there. Little tiny thing. But I think after this hill here, I should be able to get down and follow the river. That little gorge right there kind of worries me, but maybe we can go around it to the left, so we'll see. Holy cow, we finally made it. There's the hut. Oh man, I'm gassed. Be nice to lay everything out in a nice dry building here. The Department of Conservation and then a few other like mountaineering groups and hunting groups and stuff have got these huts all around the backcountry. Just like first come, first serve. I think you can reserve some of them, but kind of if you need some place to get out of the weather, or if you're taking a really long multi-day hike, you can kind of go from one to the other. But oh man, we'll get inside and check it out. Well, it ain't much, but it'll keep me out of the rain for the night. Bunch of mattresses in here, bunk beds. There's a little wood stove, but I didn't see any wood. I'll go look around and see if there's a pile hiding somewhere, but whew, this will be home for the night. All kind of settled in, got everything hanging out to dry, airing out as best as I can. That's gonna be bed tonight, which will be nice to be on a nice level bed, nice and dry. But get everything aired out. I was hoping to find some firewood stashed in here, but no luck, so I found some crap outside and brought it in, but I don't think that's gonna dry out in time to use it all anyways, so. Hang out in here until the pilot gets here tomorrow. I sent him a message on my inReach, but haven't heard back yet, so fingers crossed. Kind of going through the book in the hut here. Looks like there's been a lot of people up in this area for hunting. Tahr hunting, bull tahr. Been a couple people in here for setting mouse traps and maintaining stuff, so kind of cool to look through and see who's all been here in the last couple years. Obviously the tahr hunting is a pretty big deal around here. That's pretty cool. Day 6. Had a nice night in the hut here, a little chilly. See my breath, but I've got enough little twigs that I got a little fire going in there, so trying to warm it up in here a little bit. But helicopter's supposed to be here at 10:30, so I got another 3 hours or so to hang out and get everything all packed up, and then we're out of here. Pop out and check out the sunrise. Where the heck has this weather been the past week? Beautiful day. Got everything all packed up and ready for the helicopter. He's supposed to be here in about an hour and a half, so gonna go find a little spot in the sun to try to stand and hang out for a little bit. My boots are still soaked, so got the tar skull cleaned up as best I could and got that kind of rinsing off in the creek. I'll have to find a car wash or something when I get back to town to really clean it up and then wrap it up in some plastic or something to put it in my bag. But that's about a wrap for this spot. Well, just got back to the hotel here, had some lunch, whole bunch of pizza. Gonna go take about a 45-minute long hot shower and lay all my clothes out and hang out for a little bit and maybe go take a stroll around town, we'll see. But got a couple more days here. I was planning on doing some deer hunting, but with the delay with the helicopter and everything, I won't really have a ton of time for that. So gonna use my last couple days in New Zealand here just to kind of check some sites out and be a tourist. That's about it though. If you like the video, let me know. Maybe I'll do some more stuff like this. I haven't really filmed a ton of stuff like this before, so if you enjoyed it, let me know. But that's about it. Thanks for watching.